mentioned the Barbie movie. What are some of the other things?
Other what?
What are some of the struggles that women have?
If I watched the Barbie movie, I would be enlightened to the plight of women.
Okay. Well, first of all, like the beauty standard. And kind of just like traditional values that men like, and like you were just saying, like you should be a virgin if like that's your type or whatever, that's your type.
Low body count's
whatever
preferable.
you said. Okay. Like these standards, like it's just not like healthy, and like I don't know, I just think
what's not healthy?
Like having like putting women to these standards. I just
so men are not allowed to have preferences, standards, and boundaries.
That's not what I'm saying, but it's just interesting that a large majority of men have these standards.
So would you hold your kids to standards at all? Like, does that matter to you, your children having morals
what
and
are
standards?
Well, yeah.
So then why would a man not be allowed to want a woman to have morals and standards? And like, why is that so wrong?
What are the standards that men have that you object to? The body count thing, men should not be able to, if a woman slept with 300 people, men should just tolerate that? Okay,
that's unrealistic, but no, that's not what I'm saying. Like,
okay.
It's just interesting that we have to like live up to these standards that are like, and for what is basically what I'm thinking. Like, it's a lot of pressure on women. That's not the only thing. That's like actually.
But wouldn't you say that women are pickier and more selective than men are? So there's actually a greater pressure on men when it comes to standards?
I don't know if women are more picky.
Women are just naturally more selective than men because of it's just biological.
I have a question. Do you think it would be better for little girls across America to not be held to any standards growing up? Like no standards for like, how they carry themselves, how they act in public, who they, so like, do you think that would be better for society if little girls then going into women had no standards to be held to?
I mean, not necessarily. It depends on the standards, but yeah, I guess.
You're talking about the Barbie movie. Are you talking about like unrealistic like a lot of unrealistic standards on women?
Yeah, like the body count thing is like, if I could say, like the body count thing, that's not really like the main one. It's like the way you look, like.
But you gotta be a perfect 10.
Okay. You have to like slim waist, big boobs, big butt, all these like things that women feel that they have to be like in order for a man to like them, and like living under the male gaze and things like that. That's what.
Sorry, it's just the buzzwords, the male gaze. Okay. See, any sort like it's so interesting to me that basically like male sexuality is pathologized. Like if men are gay, like looking in your direction, you basically just want to pathologize and almost Actually, in the UK, in the United Kingdom, they attempted to criminalize staring.
Okay, I'm not saying the male gaze
is the
like
clown
that.
world
I'm saying
what is the male gaze?
Okay,
a guy looking at you.
I'll explain. Like no, that's not what it is. There's the female gaze, which is like women typically like men who are like really strong, or like they like these certain things about men. That's like living under the female gaze. If like you are doing a certain thing to yourself in order to please a woman. So for women, it's like act like doing things that you like to yourself so that you can please a man.
Can I ask you something? Do you think women actually amplify the pressure that they put on themselves? And I say that because you just talked about
I think that's what the movie is
trying to live up to a standard. You notice this. You notice other women with big boobs. You notice the women in magazines. You notice the women on social media and everything like that. You're comparing yourselves to those women. You still get approached by men, right? Men still find you attractive. So if men still find you attractive, if men still come your direction, then what is it what makes you insecure? You're doing it to yourself.
Yeah, you mentioned there's this pressure on women to have thin waist, big boobs, big ass.
Who puts the pressure on themselves?
Didn't you say earlier you're currently dating like 3 or 4 men?
I'm not dating.
Okay, you have a roster of 3 or 4 men? Or was that your friend? I don't know.
No, that was me, yeah.
Are you struggling to get men?
Not particularly.
Do you think you need to modify anything about you to attract men?
I mean, you said you're a 10, right?
Yes, but there have been times where I felt like And still,
there you go.
Right
you
now,
just said it.
What?
You just said it. There
yes,
have been times where I felt like
I had to act a certain way, look a certain way in order for a man to like me.
But no one told you to act.
No one told me to, but that's how it is in our society.
But so and you mentioned like unrealistic body standards, etc. Who do you think is more picky when it comes to dating, men or women?
Well, it's personal. I mean, I went to an all-girls school for, like I said, for 7 years, so it's kind of like, I don't really know. Like, I honestly don't know because of that.
Well, who do you think? If you had to ballpark it, you think men are more selective or women are more selective?
Well, I guess it's difficult to say because I think women get approached by men more, so they can reject men more, or like.
So if they reject men more, don't you think there would be more criteria for them men have to meet? Do you think there's more criteria men have to meet to attract women, or vice versa?
I guess women are, I don't know, like
it's impossible for her to acknowledge that men are somehow at a deficit in one realm of human endeavor, because
I recognize that men struggle for reasons.
Well, let's keep it to the body thing, right? So okay. You said that when it comes to appearance, that there's this like expectation that women have to live up to of like a certain body type, and because of the Barbie movie, I didn't see the Barbie movie, but I guess it touched on it in the movie, that women have it harder when it comes to body type.
Just living in society.
Just living in society. Yeah. Do you think that same pressure exists for men?
Yes.
Definitely. Now, here's my I don't think it's a hot take, but here's my position. I would actually argue that depictions of aspirational bodies for men are far harder to attain than what you see of women. So the aspirational body type for a man is far harder than the aspirational body for a woman.
For the average person, probably. Yeah.
Well,
like it depends on the person and their body type.
Well, the other thing I would add to, let me ask, do you care about a man's height? Would you want to, do you care about height?
Maybe not as much as other women I've heard.
What's your ideal height for a guy? You're 5'1", right?
Yeah.
Ideal height for a guy?
Like, I guess like 5'7".
Okay. Would you want to date a guy who's like 5'2"?
Probably not.
Probably not.
It depends on who they are. If they're a really good guy, we'll have to see.
Sure. Do you like really skinny guys? Like who have no muscle? Do you like a muscular guy? A little, not like super like bodybuilder, gigantic steroids.
I like muscles.
You like some muscles,
but it's not going to be like a deal breaker.
Do you like fat guys?
What?
Like
what?
Don't worry. I'm getting somewhere. Go ahead.
Like
fat, obese.
It's like the SZA song. Big boys are better.
Just go ahead.
I guess it's not really my type. I've never been into a guy that is like that.
Okay. Do you have any like when it comes to race or skin color? Do you have any preferences there?
Not.
Okay. So what I would argue, let me ask: if a guy is lacking in the bulge, is that deal breaker?
No.
Don't care. Okay, that's fine. Would you prefer a guy like if a guy was balding? Would that kind of be a turn off or unattractive?
Well, I'm 18, so like.
Some guys start balding early.
I don't know. I mean, it's not like.
Okay, well, let's say think forward to 25. Some of the men in your age cohort are gonna start losing their hair. Like,
I wouldn't want them to be balding, but like if I really loved them, like.
But would you, generally speaking, like, do you find men who are not balding more physically attractive?
Yeah, I guess.
Most women do. So, I mean, kind of going on this whole thing of, well, the body expectations of women are like really intense and there's so much to work up to. I would actually argue that for men, it's way harder because of the things that both men and women we judge each other for. There are far more things that that are outside of men's control that women judge men for. So height, penis size, physical size. If they're losing their hair, that's a big thing for a lot of women. A lot of women don't like that.
I'm not saying men are not subject to like societal standards. I'm just saying that women have
it worse.
Like
disavow?
Yeah, a bit.
Not
like
really.
No, not a bit. Like they do have it worse. That's my opinion. And I think that like the whole like thing with bodies and like the beauty standard, like that's not even like half of what's wrong with society.
Sure, there's more. But just speaking specifically on the body thing,
that's like the one like topic that men kind of like are.
No,
have
I feel
equal
like I agree with
standards
Q that it's women who kind of did that to themselves because if you look at it really, when that body started to become trending, it was when the Kardashians did it. That's when everybody wanted the small waist, the big boobs, the big ass. So it's like women, we did that to ourselves by making that popular, by praising those women, by giving them all of our attention and money, and then now guess what? It's not a trend anymore, and all of them are getting their BBLs removed, and now we're admiring being skinny again. It's like we create these standards for ourselves.
But
I think that's really what the Barbie movie was actually about.
Well, it's not really like women specifically who are like doing that. I think men also are the ones who are praising it, and it's not just women.
Yeah, but you cannot argue that a woman getting surgery on her own body is her only decision. That's not a man's decision. That is literally her only. That is.
But it's like in our society, men
you can't blame that on anybody else.
Like in some ways, men created some of the standards that are for women in society.
It's not just women.
Sorry to disappoint you.
It's not just women who create it at all.
Yes, but men like men are attracted to women with big breasts. Like men are attracted to women with big asses. However, like I would say most men, that's not like. There are some men who just have a big titty fetish, whatever. Like I think that's really not gonna be. First off, you don't want to be with a guy that doesn't like you the way you are. Obviously, you should take good care of yourself. You should be in good shape. You should have good hygiene, etc. But like, I think you've spoken on this, Q, and we have Nick over here. Like, you have 3 men sitting in front of you. Earlier I said I don't like women with plastic surgery. I don't. Mm-hmm. I even said it's not even like I really want a girl with with big boobs. I said I would prefer a girl with small boobs. I'd prefer a girl with a little belly than lipo belly. I'd prefer a girl with small upper lip than lip fillers. Mm-hmm. I'd prefer a girl with like a smaller ass than with a BBL. And Q, I don't know about you, but I'm the same. You're not a fan of plastic surgery.
I'm not a fan of any alterations.
So you got 3 guys here that aren't really into plastic surgery.
And the majority of men could think like that too, but it's just as women, we have praised these women, the famous ones that do it so much. We think, oh, that's what I have to do. I have to look like them. I need to be like them. I need to get the money like them. All the men will like me like they like them. But it's like most men, like you said, don't actually care about that. They don't actually like that. But we see the famous women doing that, and it's what we admire, and we want to be like them.
Refined_Randy donated $99. Are men or women lacking more nowadays? In terms of husband/father and wife/mother? And explain your take. Bring back Chase, Mary, and Josiane on the same panel. #Christ is King.
Amen.
Yo, Randy, thank you very much, man. Appreciate it. Are men or women lacking more nowadays? I mean, I think both men and women are. I'm not trying to play a blame game here where it's like just like. I think both men are lacking, and I think women are lacking. I think we both got to level up. Mm-hmm. Did you want to finish your point really quick, or did you kind of have it?
I don't remember.
That's fine.
I finished.
Can I add something?
Really quick.
I do think that it is a lot harder for men because us women put the expectation on things that men cannot physically change besides maybe like working out. Okay, but like in terms of like penis size and like height, that's something us women put the pressure on men for. But on the other hand, us women, we're the ones who willingly choose to scroll on social media and compare ourselves to other girls. Like the guy said, guys will praise anything.
Yeah.
Well, and that's kind of what I was saying earlier, is that when it comes to like judging other people just on a purely physical basis in terms of what we find attractive physically in the opposite sex, again, my position would be women have far more criteria when it comes to physical attractiveness for men that are completely outside of men's control. Height, penis size, balding, sexual stamina, sexual function, a lot of these things are totally outside of men's control, whereas like what the big thing I'd say with women is weight, and that's within your control. Men don't really care about your height. Women don't really bald, so that's not a factor. So when it comes to hair, that's totally not a factor with women. This is going to be kind of vulgar. Loose pussy is not nearly as prevalent as men with like average or below average penis size. That's it. Plus Kegels, you can fix that shit. Just saying. Okay, I didn't mean to take it there, but
to answer the super chat, I think that the sexual revolution is screwing all of us over, or has screwed us all over.
Also on the physical front, I would argue that physical disability is a far bigger disadvantage for men than it is for women.
Isn't it sad we're only talking about physical appearance, though, and not who people actually are? Like,
I mean, physical attraction is huge.
Why would that be sad?
She brought it up. She
frame it as more.
I agree with her.
Here, let me just finish my point here. Physical disability, far bigger disadvantage for men. So, first, sexual function for men with spinal cord injuries, fucked. Whereas a woman, you can still fuck, I guess. I would argue a woman in a wheelchair could get laid far easier than a man in a wheelchair. I'd say she could get laid more easily than an able-bodied dude.
Why? Because she can't run away.
Also, males who are not neurotypical are going to struggle far more than women when it comes to dating too. So there's a whole bunch of things. Is there anything else from the Barbie movie though that you wanted to?
Okay, the Barbie movie was just an example. I think everyone should watch the clip of the woman. I don't know what part it was in, but she's explaining like the struggles that women go through.